Hi, and welcome to another episode of Juan and Angelica in the Business. My name is Angelica Casares.
And Juan Alanis, thank you for being here.
Welcome to another episode. It's been a while. No, it's truly been quite some time. I mean, it's been months.
Happy New Year.
Happy New. Why did you put mine down?
I put mine up.
Why do I sound so... I want to put mine up too. Hello? Hello? Hi, and welcome. Okay, yeah, better. So, as I was mentioning, it's been quite some time now. The last time that we recorded, I think I'm lying. The last time that we recorded in a very consistent way has been quite some time. But outside of that, I think the last time we recorded, we were talking, what was our last topic about, Juan? Do you remember it?
So in our last topic, we talked a little bit about like being nosy.
Being nosy?
We talked about being nosy.
You're kidding. Is that really?
Yeah, we talked about
topic?
it was pretty much about that. It was like we were talking about how do you ask interrogating questions when you're like not really sure, when you're curious, and then
okay, yeah. That's right.
How do you respond when people like ask you interrogating questions?
Yeah.
That are like a little bit nosy, and you're kind of like, oh.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now I remember.
That was our last topic.
Last topic.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that I wanted to start to try to do is jump back into like podcasting a little bit more. I'm losing my flair.
Your flair?
Yes. So the last time that I got behind the mic was the day before yesterday, but it was it was another podcast, but I haven't been behind a mic or interviewing or any kind of like this where we're dialoguing or there's like a topic, a conversation where I'm thinking deep. None of this has happened for me for quite some time. And I just lost stride. And I was like, okay, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. I didn't like that feeling because I had worked really hard at gaining momentum. Mm-hmm. That I was like, okay, I'm just going to fall back into it. Well, here, let's start here. How have you been?
I've just been busy. Like, I mean, I was thinking like when you were saying that, I'm like, to me, I've thought about it. I just haven't had like made the time for it. I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, like we'll do that. We'll do it. Eventually.
Recording.
We'll record eventually. Mm-hmm. But it hasn't happened.
Obviously it hasn't happened.
But I think it's just, for me, I've just been like, I think the end of the year was I thought it was going to be slow, and then it was busier than I thought. Yeah. And then the beginning of the year is like, oh, I got to take care of all these things, like, and like, do all these different things that I got to like make sure that, that are like, it's not me just saying I have to do them. It's like, oh, you got to turn this in, to your CPA by a certain time. If you don't,
my God, taxes, Jesus.
If you don't, then you're going to get penalized. So I was like, I got to get this shit out of the
way. Taxes. Yeah, that stops everybody.
And we had a big project at the end of the year last year that took up like a lot of my time. So
it did.
It's just been like, running around.
It's just been everywhere.
Yeah.
And personally, Juan, how are you?
Personally,
you just came back from Texas on your own.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm fine. I mean, I think the Texas trip was cool. I mean, it was like a few days.
You wanted to tell us about your trip and what happened, and you had an interesting moment.
I did?
Yeah.
Where?
You had a whole accident, Juan.
Oh, I was like, interesting moment. I'm like, well, the thing is like now that when we go back and forth to Houston, so like one of the things that we try to do is we set up meetings. So like I had a bunch of meetings like that I was setting up and that I set up. And
so you went back for personal reasons to go visit family, right?
Well, yeah. I went for both. So I went back and when I'm going back, I'm like, well, I might as well set up meetings. So I had like set up several meetings while I was there. And I was only in town for like 3 full days. I got there like on a Tuesday night, and I was there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday full. And then Saturday in the morning, I flew out and I came back here. Mm-hmm. But, so I was going along my little planned days that I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to like go ahead and have these meetings. Mm-hmm. And the second day when I was like, oh, okay, second day I had my coffee, like my breakfast meeting, and I was leaving, and I was like, oh, I had like a 2-hour time in between. And I said, let me go to the co-working space. And I, for some reason, thought, instead of going to the regular location, which would have been like going eastbound, I was like, let me go westbound because there's a location that way.
That's how you know we live in Houston, east, northwest.
And I was like, let me go westbound and go down to this location that I've never been to before. Okay. Because the place I was going to meet up my friend at, was down the street. So I was like, oh, that'll make more sense. I get more time on my computer. Mm-hmm. And so here I am, like nonchalantly, like getting in the car, and luckily I had decided to rent like a little pickup, a Tacoma, because last time that I went, I got a Tacoma, and I was like, oh, I kind of like riding around
a little
in that.
truck.
Yeah. I was like, I kind of like driving around that, so I was like, let me rent the same truck, and so I rented a little Tacoma, and when I was driving, so if you're from Houston, you know Westheimer, the street Westheimer is like one of the main streets in the city, and this street around the Montrose area, which is like kind of near Midtown, you drive and it curves, and when it curves, it's a little bit hard to see oncoming traffic or for oncoming traffic to see you. Well, I was just getting into that curve area, and all of a sudden, boom, bam, I feel like somebody hit me on the side. Like I see them coming, and then I see her hit me. But I was like, you know how sometimes when like cars, they
it's Westheimer. There's a lot of bumps, so you probably thought you were hit a bump.
No, like you know how sometimes like you see cars like either jump in front of you or jump behind you, and you're like, man, that was close.
Yeah.
So that's what this looked like. Like it looked like she was jumping in, and I was like, what is she doing? Or like I didn't know at that point it was a woman. I was like, what are they doing? I didn't use those words. I used other words.
Very colorful words.
Very colorful words. I was like, what the? And so they like. I thought that literally we were gonna like literally avoid each other, but she clipped me like right on the door. And on the bottom of the door, but because I was in a higher vehicle, she clipped the bottom of the Tacoma on the driver's side, and it made like a little bit of a dent. It made like a little bit of a scuff on the side of the bottom of the door, not even a big one. And then was that me?
That was you. That was your chair.
And then and then on the front tire, it had like a little bit of a skin. Like, so I felt the impact. I was like, okay, obviously it wasn't a big impact. So I was like, I didn't really get hurt. So the first thing I do is I get off and I was like, are you okay? Because she got out too. And I was like, are you okay? And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you or wasn't paying attention or something like that. So then I like turn around and I start checking the car to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I look, and then the tire's making like a weird noise. It's like the air is going out, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get a flat tire." So like I start messing around with it, and I like get it to stop. I just like moved it, and it stopped, and I was like, "Okay." So then we called the police, and all that stuff. They came, they did the whole thing, and the whole front of her car was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But long story short, they gave her a citation. It was her fault. I called my insurance. I had to go return my rental and pick up another one.
You were talking about how to ruin your day.
Yeah, it switched out my. They switched out the Tacoma for a red one for a white one. So I was like, okay, I just drive the same car. And then, what I was really bummed about is that I was like
looking forward to the restaurant.
I was looking forward to the restaurant because you know how I've been seeing on.
I know you're okay, and I shouldn't laugh.
No,
but you're fine.
But I've been seeing on TikTok videos where they take that big cheese wheel and then they like
burn it.
They burn it and then they put like pasta in it and they like serve the pasta.
Yeah.
Like directly from. I was like, oh, that looks like it would be really good.
Yeah.
And so the restaurant that my friend recommended, she gave me like 3 or 4 options, and I saw that restaurant did that, and I was like, oh, let's do that. Let's do the Italian one. So I was looking forward to eating that restaurant, taking videos for my little Instagram stories and stuff. I was like, I was looking forward to that.
How far were you from it?
It was like 2 hours away. So
okay.
To the point where I was like looking at my watch, and I was like, maybe I can still make lunch. And I was like,
okay.
Anyway, so it didn't work out. I didn't make that. So that was the one thing that I was the most bummed out about. I was like, man, I really wanted to go to that restaurant because Houston has good food.
Oh my God, it has amazing food. I'm still so mad that every time, what you did today? Oh, I ate here. Or every conversation, I went here, I ate here. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to talk to you.
Well, that's the benefit of like, that's the benefit of if you're going for like business meetings is that you go and you like, you can, I'm like, well, if I'm going to have a business meeting and we're going to have lunch or breakfast, why not pick a really good spot that,
I know,
or a spot that I want to go to that I've been missing. So
Houston's food, my God. Yeah.
So I literally got to go to a few spots that, we both like. And I was like, man. And then every time I would tell Angelica, like, she would be like, where did you eat? And I would be like, oh, we went over here. She's like,
I didn't even ask you what the fuck you were eating. I asked.
You'd be like, shut up, Juan.
I kept asking you, what did you do today? And you're like, and you were so excited about everywhere you want to go eat. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to hear about it anymore. Yeah. I stopped asking you how your day went because I knew I was going to hear about the food.
And then Friday, like we went. Friday, our Houston team, and and part of it, me, like we met up and we were doing co-working that day, and then we were like, what are we gonna have for lunch? What are we gonna have for lunch?
Shut up.
So we ended up having one of your favorite spots, which was a Greek place, Nico.
Yeah.
And so when I came back, you asked me about it. I was like, oh, we ate Nico's. You're like, shut up, Juan.
you know how some I kept praying. You know how some of those what are they called? Where the airplanes land and they go to terminals.
The tarmac?
Terminals.
Oh yeah.
Some terminals have like some they have food that it's like local, or the restaurants like serve local food from there. Like one of the, you know what I mean? They like have a few restaurants around the city, and so one of them will be like inside the terminal.
The airports, yeah.
Yeah, and I was hoping, I was like, look, Juan, if they have one of the restaurants that you know that I like if there's like a small restaurant and they're selling like a gyro or a sandwich, a banh mi or something, anything, can you just grab that for me, please? And no, sure enough, you came back with nothing.
Yeah, because
no, I'm lying. You came back with some Colombian like little treats from our friend, but you came back with no food, and I was like, I did not like that. I did not appreciate that. I mean, I have to say that.
Well, they didn't have anything in there. The only thing that they had at the terminal that I went to was Jason's Deli. So I was like, I don't think that you care about Jason's Deli.
No, I don't care about Jason's Deli, Juan. Pero you offered.
I didn't offer.
Yes, you did. You said, Angelica, anything that I can carry in my suitcase, I'll bring back for you.
No, I said anything that you want.
Yes.
And you said at the airport, if there's anything at the airport,
I don't think
bring it back to me.
I don't think you even bothered to look.
I did. But I didn't have time because I had to fly out like literally that 9 o'clock. So I had to wake up and like leave to the airport.
I'm still so mad about it. I'm still so bitter.
So I'm like, I was not like I could have gone to Nico's and they would have been open at like 6:30 in the morning.
Bitter. Yeah, I'm sure they would have.
No, they would.
No, I'm sure they would didn't. But still, I'm still bitter about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Juan went to Texas. He had a really great time. So he said he did, of course. And I have to be honest, of course, I'm being petty. He didn't get to make the restaurant, so we get to go together next time. And then we go back to Houston. But on today's episode, Juan, I wanted to talk about just that, like how I want to talk about like our like aging. Yeah, aging. So here's what's up. I got sick right when we came back from Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I broke out in hives. And what's up with your glasses? What's going on?
I don't know. Lately, they've been like really foggy where I can't get them clean.
Okay, that is distracting.
I know, but it's hard to see with them on like that, especially with so many lights pointing in your face.
Pointing in your face. Okay, so when we came back from Texas, I got sick. I don't know if I was like had stressed out about what like the whole like event that we did there in Houston, which I'll talk about right now in a second because that's definitely like related to the business. But when we were there, I guess there was like I was trying not to stress out, and it was definitely one of the less stressful like events that I've done because I definitely had a lot more. Because we planned it, and so I made sure that I wasn't trying to stress out about it. Mm-hmm. So nobody else was like dictating what I did. Like I was like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. But when you set timelines for me, or when you set dates and times, and I know like I'm expecting a lot of people, I just stress out. Period. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I felt like it was a really good, like what we did. The event was really well. Again, I said I'll talk about it a little bit later, but the event went really well. And then when we got back, I don't know what the fuck hit me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cuss. No, I'm lying. I did mean to cuss, but I don't mean to cuss a lot this time. That's 2023. Like one of my goals is not cuss a lot. But when we came back, I broke out in hives. Like immediately. We were here for a couple of days and I just started to break out. Like everywhere. And I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't figure out like what was going on with me. So, which was scary as hell because it would last for days. I just would take a Benadryl and it would go away for a little bit and it would come right back. Yeah. Go away for a little bit and it'd come right back. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So I know, I'm sorry. I didn't want to cuss again.
No, I wasn't even looking at you for that reason.
Oh, okay. So I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then, so Edgar, our son, had went to Houston. And then when he came back, he tested positive for COVID.
He went for the holidays, so yes. He went during Christmas.
Not the holidays, he just went for Christmas.
Yeah, he went for Christmas. So he went before I did, and then when he came back, we spent New Year's together, and then I went after New Year's.
Yes, yeah. Yes. So, but I started getting sick like around the 15th or soon, like a little bit before that. Mm-hmm. So like around the 13th, like around these days. I mean, it's been a month.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been. So I got sick and I broke out in hives, and it was a couple of days I couldn't shake it off, and I don't have an established doctor here. So no matter what I did, like I was like, it started to get really scary for me for a second. So when I wasn't doing well, he came back, he was sick, but I had started to feel, again, I wasn't feeling well already. And I thought I had COVID. And it turns out it wasn't COVID, but I couldn't figure it out. I started to have like a really bad like allergic reaction, right? It started off with hives. That sort of went away because they gave me steroids. And then I just started to get sick, like I was allergic to something and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it just lasted for weeks. Anyways, last week, finally, the doctor gave me a Z-Pack, and I was fine. I mean, I was to the point where they had prescribed me an inhaler, a spacer with an inhaler. They had prescribed me I was a shit show the entire time. And that is the first time that I felt my age. I was like, I feel rough. Like I feel my age.
Okay.
But for those out there, I am 40. I've never felt, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I skipped a decade or something. Like I'm like, why am my concentration isn't there as sharp as it used to be. My downtime, like I don't recover faster. I seem to be getting much more sick, which means my body is aging fast. And maybe that's just me aging my body as fast as possible. I don't know. And everything just, I started to realize that I was like, okay, well, that was like head on. I have to accept that. I finally accepted that I'm my age. And I can't, like, I can't play it off as if I'm not sick and pretend like I'm okay. Like, because it wears down my body faster. And I am being forced at this point where I have to take my downtime to recover. Because I tried to play it off the entire month and nothing was working for me. I was like, I'm fine. And then I was like, no, I'm not. And I was like, oh, I was okay for like I felt a little bit better. And I like jumped out of bed and I started doing stuff. And then by the end of the day, I was like, okay, that wasn't a really good idea. That was not, like, I should have not done that.
But I don't know if that's an age thing as much as it is a you thing. Because I think
you think?
Yeah, because
excuse me?
Yeah, because I think me and Edgar kept telling you, like, you're going to have to, like, stop. You're going to have to, like, stop going to meetings. You're going to have to stop, like, we're going out, like, being like, oh, I have to go here, I have to go there. And, like, at some point you have to, like, stop and just, like, let the day go by because you need to recuperate. And you're, like, you just refuse to. You're like, no, I don't want to. Like, I have to do this. This helps me. Like, it helps me to not be just, like, down.
I hate feeling like that.
And, I think, like, for me, when I feel sick...
It's a you problem. I can't believe you said that. Go ahead.
No, for me, usually when I feel, like, sick, I'm okay with, like, just being like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be out of commission for the next day or for the next few hours. I'm just going to be out of commission. And that usually allows me to, like, feel better, like, in a shorter period of time. So
here's the thing. You're such a homebody.
I'm comfortable. I create like comfortable spaces for myself. So where I'm like, okay, like I feel comfortable. I don't feel like I have to be out, but I wouldn't say that I'm a homebody. That I don't want to go. I mean, by saying homebody, I don't feel like I'm somebody that just doesn't like to go anywhere.
I've never asked you. Do you experience yourself as an extrovert or introvert?
Well, I think I'm an introvert, but I think I'm right at the border. Like right at the border. Like I'll be honest, like out of all my family, I'm probably one of the most extroverted. Because everybody in my family, we're pretty like introverted. That's just the way.
That's everybody there at your family.
We just grew up like that. That's the way we were raised. Like we were just raised to be very polite.
Politeness doesn't mean introverted. Y'all were raised to be very much to yourselves.
Well, I don't know if it's that. I think it's more like I think politeness is part of it, and I think like a lot of like
extroverts aren't impolite.
No, I'm not saying that it's not. That's not what I'm saying. You're taking it wrong.
I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is like that it was very like a lot of politeness, a lot of like humility, and a lot of like just being like very like flying under the radar kind of deal. I think so. I think for me that's my interpretation, and I think even though I know that I am still very introverted, like if you compare me to other people, I'm probably still very introverted. But I feel like, from where I come from, I feel like I'm very extroverted.
You do tend to stay very quiet.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of the
do.
times.
I do.
And it's not until you feel comfortable with people until you start to express like who you really are.
No, because for me it does take a little bit of
It does effort.
a little bit of effort to really like be like, oh, like I'm gonna be really high energy today. Like it's just like, it's not that I don't enjoy it.
No,
it's just like it takes me. It takes like something out of me to go there.
Yeah. So for me, a lot of extroverts aren't all high energy. They're not high energy. I think that's the misconception, that extroverts aren't high energy. Extroverts just they have a more natural state of just allowing to be in the space, and introverts they does take maybe just a little bit more time to like get to know you and express who you are. Express who you are, or express themselves to you, and they like to feel the room out a little bit more. They like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's you.
But what would you say? Would you say that I'm correct in saying that I'm kind of at the, like, I can ride that fence, like sometimes, like between
No,
both?
for sure. You're one of the few introverts that I know that can hang. Who are, you're just like, we're here a couple hours. Oh, we're you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think I've said it before. Like, I think to me, like, I'm what do they call it? I'm like a chameleon. Where I match energy. Like, I match energy. So, like, to me, it's easy to, like, I can match your energy, but at the end of that period, I am gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna need to go and like sit in front of the TV and just crash and watch nothing. Like, watch stuff that doesn't that doesn't make me think, that just like makes me laugh.
Hence the reality shows.
Yeah.
But yes. So anyways, I don't even know where we got into that topic, but going back to the same topic that we were talking about earlier was that I can't like just hang out and do nothing. Like, I feel like I feel like I get even more sicker, like if I do nothing. And so I was like, I can't stay still. I need to go and not necessarily be around people, but just look at people. I love to people watch. I love to interact. That sounds a little creepy. I like to just like get out there and just enjoy like the space of people.
I just remembered. So like right before New Year's, you were already feeling sick, and somebody invited us to a bonfire, and you were already feeling like sick.
Yeah.
And then you're like, Juan, they invited us to a bonfire. Are we gonna go? I was like, aren't you sick?
They did.
I was like, aren't you sick? What are you talking about? We're gonna go to a bonfire. So
But what happened?
So then she like insists like,
Go,
then you
Juan,
insist,
go.
no, you go, Juan. You should go. And I was like, I don't want to go. Like, it's gonna be like, I was like, well,
It's gonna be so awkward.
it's gonna be awkward because they were gonna do like this exercise where they were gonna like I forgot what it was. It was like I don't know. It was like an exercise that was like a spiritual thing, and I was like,
it was gonna be interactive.
I was like, I feel like I'm going to be really weird in that, especially if they make us talk about it. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that stuff in front of people like that I'm getting to know. Like, it's going to be weird. I don't want to go. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, I probably should, like, it probably would be a good exercise for me to get out of my comfort zone and go and just, like, interact. I'm like, I don't have to say anything if I don't want to. And I was like, okay, I'll go. So I went, and it was nice. I enjoyed it. I didn't have to say anything out loud, which was like, I was very thankful for.
You were very much appreciative of the alcohol they had, so you got a little more comfortable.
I was like, you know what? Like, it was good. It was fun, but I was like, I was very happy that we didn't have to like talk about our stuff.
Yeah, I needed you to go socialize. Yeah. I wanted to hear back Cheeseman. I wanted you to come back and how did it go? How did it, you know what I mean? I didn't want the opportunity to pass up. Not everybody invites you to like a bonfire. And I wanted to hear, how was the experience? How did it go? What did y'all do? Like,
well, the thing is like, you know how like, when you're getting to know people, I think sometimes people will invite you because they're trying to give you an opening and say, hey, you know, we want to know you. We want to get to know you. And they had already invited us to something else, and we didn't go. And I was like, okay, well, there's only going to be so many times that we're going to get invited, and then they're going to stop inviting you. They'd be like, oh, maybe they just don't want to hang out with us, or they're being sanguinos or whatever.
Absolutely.
And I was like, no,
that's the same in business.
I was like, I don't want to give them that impression that we just don't want to go. I was like, well, if she's sick, well, I guess I'll go. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I guess I'll go. And I had a good time. Like, but it was just like getting myself out of my comfort zone, like going back, I guess, to that introverted thing. It's like I had to like push myself to be like, no, you can do it. You'll be fine. Like, just
you kept
go.
saying no. You kept saying no. And I was so happy. I was so happy for you when you said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go just for a little while and I'll be back. And I was like, how fucking awesome. Like, hell yeah. I was excited. So I was excited also when you went to Houston and you were like made a bunch of meetings to talk to people and stuff like that. And not just like, not just go back home to be back home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I realized that, you know, like that's part of what, you know, now being like in two different cities or like operating in two different cities is like you have to do those things where you go and like, you know, you have to maximize your time. Especially when you're like wherever you have less time, you have to maximize your time there. So when we were spending less time here, we were trying to maximize all our time here. Now that we're spending less time there, we're like trying to maximize all our time there. So it's like a back and forth.
It is a back and forth.
So I don't know. But anyways, I'm like,
No.
taking off of the
I like
topic
that.
of you were talking about.
No, I like the conversation. I like your perspective on things. It is that because that is part of the topic. That is part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I felt like the big hit, and so where I'm getting at is that I feel like I understand now how important the work that I'm doing while I feel well, because it's I'm trying to balance that. I finally realized what I'm doing wrong is that when I feel well, I just hit hard. Like as I push as hard as possible. And my problem is that I try to do it all myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why did I do that? Like, what was I thinking?
But what do you mean when you try to do it all yourself?
I try to do it all myself. I try not to give off too much of what I'm doing. Like, for example, I kept trying to edit the videos from the very beginning on my own. Right. I didn't want to give it up. And then I kept trying to do this all on my own. And then I was trying to do all the the scheduling for like the guest on my own. And I was trying to do all of this on my own. And I would stress over the interview that I wouldn't even just schedule guest. And it was silly.
Yeah.
It was like, what am I doing? Like we build a team for these reasons. So we can also do this. So one of the bigger part of what I was doing also, and now I'm going back to the podcast, which is my podcast. I was like, I've always said that this podcast isn't just like, yes, it initiated with me, but it doesn't just belong to me. It belongs to a community of Latinas who are looking at the same conversations, who are dealing with the same things in their careers, in their professional growth and personal growth. And I was like, why am I the only host? I was like, this is silly. So as we were leading into the Latina Leadership Series dinner that we had in Houston, which was at the beginning of December. I don't think we mentioned it yet. Was at the beginning of December, and it was due. Have we mentioned it, Juan?
I think maybe we said something about it last time, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I mean, we might have not. I don't remember.
No, I don't think we did because I think I went back and listened to it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't think we did.
Remember.
So the dinner itself was for Equal Pay Day. And it was just to recognize women like making strides in their community and doing amazing things in their community. And I was just trying to create a dinner to recognize them, right? But before we even had that dinner, I had already decided that I needed a co-host. That the voice and the tone of the series itself shouldn't only be created by me. I think I understand it because I've been at it for the longer. Especially this. I think I understand it. So I was like, I've always said, like, if you're going to create something, please don't let the torch die with you. Please don't let that torch, like, its flame go out with you. Keep it ignited, hand off the torch, hand off the baton. Like, don't let the baton fall. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be, like, given to the next person to either build on it or build like further with it with something else. I've always said that. I truly think if you don't allow things to build off of you, and this is probably going to be one of those things where people are going to take it out of context or not trust what I'm saying, or maybe don't think I'm full of shit, and that's okay. I truly believe that if you do not, if what you're building, if it's not handed off to somebody else, or if you're not teaching somebody else what you've built, you're kind of gatekeeping. You're keeping all of that, the growth, that all the efforts that you put in, kind of let it simmer away with you. And that was never the point when you started to build, right? The point a lot of the times was to help.
Yeah.
So I wanted to grow with the ladies that helped me build my podcast. So I invited, my first outreach was to them to say, hey, do you guys want to co-host with me? Invite the guest, choose the guest. Let's pick the conversation. Let's choose the tone together. Let's start creating an even larger community outside of me, right? Let's start to get you guys in front of the camera too, to have these amazing conversations that I've been able to have with some amazing women.
Yeah.
So, so as I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, this is probably not a good business practice if I do it all on my own. I'm not going to grow.
Well, not that it's not a good business practice, but I guess for your vision of the show, it wasn't what you envisioned, right?
Well, I always talk about balance, right? Keeping healthy, keeping your business healthy, keeping yourself healthy, or at least try to, and acknowledge when it's not going well, right? I had to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
I really had to stay. I mean, it's fun. This of what I'm doing with the podcast is fun. I want other people to have fun with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the biggest change, definitely, that's been within me. And realizing that this whole time that I skipped on this whole month that I was sick, other people could have continued. And it stopped because I was sick, because I wasn't, as for those who do with mental illness. Oh my God, I need to say this again. For those who do deal with mental illness, you understand that sometimes when you get physically sick, you feel the heavy hit of your mental state. So you're recovering from being physically sick to now you're recovering from you're trying to recover that mental state to okay, I feel bad. My body just feels bad. It's not me. So that was a whole internal struggle, of course, that delayed my I don't know, getting pep in my step again to try to get to do things again. So yeah, I missed out on a whole month, and I was like, I don't want to do that again. What if I get sick again? And I'm out for 2-3 weeks. Nothing happens. Nothing moves because I'm out sick.
Well, I think that whether it's a month or whether it's a longer period of time, I think that for me that was part of the thing too. I can relate to what you're saying in that when I was doing the bulk of the work for the businesses, it felt okay, what happens if you do, and going back to what you were saying earlier at the beginning of getting older, what happens if as you get older, you don't want to, knock on wood or whatever, but that you get really sick and you can't, continue. Yeah. Then everything just kind of falls by the wayside and or just, you discontinue everything. Yeah. And so for me, part of my wanting to have a team was so that I, if I do, get sick, that somebody can, other people can continue, and the company, the business doesn't have to stop. Maybe it's hampered for a little bit, but it continues. It's operational enough that it can keep going. Yeah, maybe it can grow, and other people just step into different roles and continue with the business. Yeah. Which wasn't something that was there before. So I think now that we have more of a team, an actual team, then now we are able to do that. And now I feel a lot more confident in that. I feel if I were, not that I'm wanting to get sick. So I keep knocking on wood because I'm
it's not wood. Your head is not wood.
I know, that's just como se dice? Anyways, you know what I'm saying. But to me, I'm just I don't want that to be the case. I don't want it to all end with me. And it's not just that. It's not that just being so dark and being oh, that's the only option. But I think it's also like, it allows you to focus on other things. So now that I don't have to focus on the day to day, that I'm just kind of like managing a team and like giving people things to do and working with them on the things that they're doing. I can focus on the business development side. I can focus on the like administrative side and make sure that we have all our ducks in a row the way that we needed to, that we didn't really have it in order before.
Yeah. I feel much more comfortable building a team and trusting people. I feel like now I can decipher who's good at what.
Yeah.
And be able to like, okay, like there's things I'm not good at all.
Yeah.
Like no matter how hard I try, it probably is not going to happen for me. And I'm looking at stupid systems, right? I was looking at Excel and I was like, I forgot how to use this. I don't even use Outlook. Like I use Gmail and Yahoo.
Well, the thing is like
I got to go back and learn this stuff. And I was telling you that. I was like, I think I need to go relearn some shit.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, we all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses, and we all have the ability to like, and I think that's the thing that the work culture is different now too, because people don't want to work in the way that we are used to working.
Yeah.
Like the way that we used to work, like when you would go to 9 to 5 and that was it. And
not everybody wants to be an admin.
You had to be like, you had like a specific row, a defined row, and that was it. Like you didn't have anything beyond that. Like that was like, okay, no, you're an account supervisor and that's what your title is.
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to be doing. And that's
everybody
it.
likes to have, like, everybody likes to dip their hands in like different spaces. You know what I mean?
And
it's not so like, this is exactly what you're doing. It's like, I want to do this. I want to be creative. I want to do this and I want to do that.
And I feel like now that I've been like working with people, like managing people, like people management, like that's like one thing that like they don't ever tell you. Like people management is like a very different thing. Like it does require a certain skill set. Is like being able to do that. But now that I've been doing that for a couple of years, like one thing that I found is that like people really want to have like some ownership of
what they do,
and how they do it.
Yeah.
And they want to feel understood. And I feel like the more that you can, provide that or like work with them to identify like, okay, you know what, you don't like writing, then okay, I'm not going to make you write.
Yeah.
You're telling me like you can be forthcoming with me. I can be forthcoming with you and say, okay, well, if you don't like writing, that's fine, but I do need to have this other thing done. Can you do this? And they're like having more of a dialogue, I think just leads to like better communication and a better like feel overall across the board on everybody's side, plate, because you just feel more at ease. You're like, okay, I really like doing this, as opposed to being like, oh, I'm being forced to do things
that you don't want to
that
do.
I don't necessarily have to do.
I know,
but I have to do them because that's part of the job.
No, so I think some tasks can be divided by several people. Like not one person just has to do one thing.
And I think
like because everybody should learn like all of what they want to learn, just in case they want to like do just one. Not every. For example, right? If you are like, for example, if you're good at one thing, say like in school, right? Say I'm really good at science, but I like to be also creative, and you force me just to like, do science projects and science this and research this and data that. Then maybe that's not what I always want to do. Like I also want to partake in like, I don't know, in like gym class and art class. I'm also athletic. So I understand that environment now. I understand that not everybody's going to just want to do, they might be really, really good at it and they might lead that, but it doesn't mean that they don't want to dabble in everything else. So everybody can, here's the thing. If I take part of that really like responsibility off of you, I can give it to somebody else, right? Yeah. That means you get to teach somebody now and somebody else gets to learn another skill set. And I feel like, I think I understand the workplace that's shifting now. That's kind of part of the shift, right? It's not just work-life balance, but it's also enjoying your job. And enjoying your job probably means taking off different hats within that like industry or within that job description or within that team, whatever it is.
And I feel like what I was saying, like maybe was a little bit too like, it sounds like too lofty and too like up high in the sky. And so I need to ground it a little bit. So what I mean and what I was saying about, people, working with people to figure out how it is that they want to work and the things that they're better at and working with them within those parameters. Obviously, like if you have certain business objectives that you have to meet, you have to meet those business objectives. But I think like, for example, in our team, a lot of our team members, like they like to work, they prefer to work part-time.
Yeah.
Because they have other like life
Projects,
situations or things that they're doing.
Absolutely.
And so that gives me the flexibility as the business owners to be able to say, for you and I to say, okay, you know what? This time we're going to dedicate here. This other time we're going to dedicate here. And then we have we can adjust that budget, around to be like, okay, you know what? Now we're going to have a graphic designer here. Now we're going to have a writer here. Now we're going to have, so we start able to really look for those specific skill sets.
Yeah.
And for people that really have found out what those skill sets are for themselves.
Yeah.
That they really enjoy. And then we're able to it's like we're working with a bunch of experts in their fields.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
And when we're working with them, on and we're having an understanding that we're going to work together, and that as much as they're contributing to us, we want to contribute to them. So I feel like that makes it more. I don't know. That makes it I guess. I hope that makes it sound a little bit more grounded, rather than it being
I don't know why you took me in a couple of circles, and I was like, okay, I get it. I mean, it made sense, but
I was just thinking about the listener that if you're listening to this and you're like, oh no, just work with everybody and be flexible and this and that, and I was like, no, that sounds very idealistic.
Yeah.
And while I think there is a little bit of idealism in it. I don't feel like it. I feel I wanted to give you some context there. Okay, it's not just we're hiring a bunch of people and we're giving them leeway to do whatever they want.
We're giving them anything to do, and then we're just
It's that we've kind of figured out how to work with experts in their professions and the creativity that they want to do, and we figured out how to create an environment where they benefit, we benefit, and all of that. So I just wanted to say that because I want to ground it a little bit because I feel like I was just kind of talking
Okay, that made more sense what you just said right now than what you said earlier.
Okay.
Because you were kind of taking me in. I was like,
I think I was trying to say something. I was trying to say things without saying things, and I was like,
and you yourself dices tes bolas. Pero no. So I was saying, I think definitely I understand now. How I want to progress. I feel like every year I'm lost, and I feel like this is the first year that I'm not lost. Yeah. Because I started working on this year last year. Yeah. At the end of last year. I wish I would implemented what I learned sooner than now. Than waiting and be oh, I'm going to do that for 2023. Instead of, you know what I mean? Instead of kicking off last year. You know what I'm saying? This year, last year. I don't know. And I'm trying not to
I don't allow myself to think that.
I know. Well, excuse me. I know. I'm very much one of those persons who I am very hard on myself. If you it's gonna be anybody can hurt you, right? But trust when I say that I am my worst enemy. No, I am my worst enemy. I be telling myself some shit where I have to defend myself. Why did you say that to yourself? I'll be walking around and be oh, I'm so stupid. What? You're. That's why you're never gonna. I'm what am I saying to myself?
But I think we all do that. I think we all do that. I think it's just I don't want to say control it. I feel it's you kind of have to learn to I guess quiet that voice down a little bit.
You want me to shut myself up?
No, not shut yourself up, but it's or you counter it in a way, or you just say no. I don't know, cause I don't know, because I feel like a lot of us, I feel not everybody, but I feel like a lot of people do that, where you just talk negative to yourself. You know how they say sometimes you give people the best advice, but when it comes to yourself, you don't give yourself the best advice, or you don't follow your own advice.
I'm mad at myself a lot.
Yeah.
I am. Let's be honest. I'm mad at myself a lot. I'm mad at the last 10 years that things didn't go right for me. I'm mad that I got sick for the entire month and I should have just not have been. I don't know how that's gonna work, right? I should have started something else so that everybody else could have gone with it. And why did I get sick? And why am I? So anyway, I'm trying not to do that. I think this year. I don't know if you've heard some of the conversations that I've had, or if you heard some of the meetings that I've had where I'm okay, like, just stop fucking around, Angelica. Stop agreeing to things. Start doing the things that you said you were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you agree?
Yeah. No, I definitely see
Okay.
a difference. And I think that in what you said right now, in terms of, like, you said that you feel like you... Repeat what you said. I, like, lost my train of thought. I was going to say something, and then
I don't know.
Oh, okay. You were saying something about, like, you say, like, you talk negative to yourself, and you feel like, oh, you were mad at yourself.
Yeah.
You're mad at yourself for the last 10 years. But the way the way I think about that when I'm mad at myself is like, okay, Juan, are you going to waste the next 5 minutes being mad at yourself? Or are you going to, like, just give yourself some grace and be like, okay, you know what? I fucked up, whatever. Like, let's move forward, you know? Like,
No,
and like, to me, like, I have to stop myself sometimes from doing that, because I can beat myself up too. But then I'm like, wait, like, I'm wasting more time by, like, you know, being mad at myself or whatever. Like, yeah, be mad at yourself, be upset, whatever it is, whatever that emotion is, but then, like, move on.
I'm working on the moving on. Let's be honest. I'm working on the moving on.
Yeah.
I think I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Right? The first step is recognizing when you have a problem. So I'm there. But I just want to be good.
Yeah.
I want to be good at what I do and what I say I'm going to do. I want to follow through with things. That includes myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a struggle when you say you're going to take care of yourself, but you know you want to help. And it's very combative within. When you know you can't help, but you said you can help.
Mm.
But you really have to take care of yourself. So what do you do?
Mm.
Do you follow through with the agreement that you said you were going to help, or do you follow through with the agreement that you...
without saying?
No, absolutely not,
way.
because that's me all the way, all the time.
Yeah.
So even if you pick the scenario and that's fucking me, right? So
But at the
if
same
I'm constantly saying that I'm going to take care of myself, but I've also made an agreement. There's a struggle within to be like, but you said you were going to help, and you're like, yeah, but you also promised yourself you were going to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if I even should say my mentor's names here, but my mentor, he asked me, he's like, so how are you doing? I was like, I'm doing okay. I was like, I don't know how the conversation went, but I think there was something along the lines I remember saying at the end. He's like, yeah, but you should take care of yourself also. And I was like, I'll take care of myself later.
But I think that's a very personal journey for everybody. So I feel like you have to do what feels right for you, because I feel like you have to learn those lessons on your own. I feel like we all have to learn those lessons on our own, because it doesn't matter, like, what I say or what somebody else says or whatever. Like, they're going to tell you, like, we can all give you, like, our perspective, which is our perspective for a reason, because it's based on our own experiences and our own, like...
Yeah, but from like you to me, you're the closest thing to me. So of course it would be you to tell me.
Yeah.
It would...
I know, but it doesn't matter.
I would trust what you're saying.
No, I know that you trust what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, like, I can tell you till I'm blue in my face, like, and you're not gonna listen to me if you're not ready to listen, if you're not ready to receive it. It's not gonna come across.
Are you trying to?
What? What?
It sounded like church right now. If you're ready to receive it, you're ready to hear the word of God.
No, like,
and I'm not trying to be funny about it, but that's the only time I've ever heard that being said like that. It's like, if you're ready to, like, receive and hear, then you're ready to receive. Yes, I hear that a lot when it comes to, like, religious aspects.
No, but
and
it's
I
true.
know what
like,
you're. I know
if
what
you're not ready to, like, if you're not ready to receive it, if you're not ready to, like, hear it, then it's not going to resonate to you. So I can say, like, you know, like what I just said right now. I said, for me, what I do is I talk to myself in my own head. I'm like, are you going to waste these 5 minutes or the next hour, the next day, being mad at a situation? And there were a lot of things that I could have been mad about last year. You know that. Like, and I was like, I can be mad about the situation.
You could have, or you were.
I was mad, but I was like, that I wasn't allowing myself to like, for it to hamper me, for it to, like, stop me from doing what I needed to do. that I was like, I still need to move forward. I still need to like move forward. I still need to move forward. And I feel like I can tell you that advice, but if you're not ready to hear it.
I have a different story.
If I tell you that advice, no, but I'm not talking about like your opinion of me. I'm just telling you what I'm saying.
Oh, your opinion of me.
No, not my opinion. I'm saying that everybody is on their own path or journey, and that sometimes no matter what I say to you, even though I am, close to you and you trust what I'm saying to you, that it doesn't matter, because if you're not ready, if you're not there, it could just sound like, oh, okay, well, yeah, he's just saying that, whatever, like,
No, I hear what you're saying. So I guess I'm listening, and this is personal at this point. I hear what you're saying, but I think the problem I'm having with that is that, are you going to like tell me when I'm not okay? Are you going to like not stop yourself from being like, hey, so this is what I'm seeing happening, and this is how I can help, or this is what I see yourself sabotaging, and maybe that's not a good thing for you to do for yourself. So will you continue to tell me when I'm not doing well, and like you'll call me out on it before like I like roll down the hill and like hurt myself a couple of times?
Well, duh, like of course, of course, but I'm saying like.
Well, no, why do you laugh at that?
No, because that sounds silly. Like, why wouldn't I? But I'm saying at the same time.
Well, because right now you were like, well, I don't know if you're ready to receive the message.
No, because
I was like, what the fuck? Hold on.
No, because it's funny, because like I've heard, like, there's been situations like on your end, and I think you can say on my end too, where like either you've given me advice or I've given you advice, and in the moment we kind of like we went back and forth about it and we didn't agree with each other. But then somebody else comes along and gives us the exact same advice, and then we're like, oh well, you know what? I think I'm gonna try this because so and so said da 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 da, and that's when you like, you give the other person the eye roll. You're like, or in your mind you're like, really? Like, we talked about this, like, we argued about this, and you're like, okay, but so now so-and-so said it, and it's like, oh, now.
Oh, somebody bitter.
Now you're ready to listen.
Oh, somebody bitter.
No, but it's happened in both instances.
It has.
And I think that to my point, when I said it, it didn't resonate because I think I was too close, or it just didn't. I don't know, whatever the reason was.
Maybe I didn't want to hear it in the moment. You know,
exactly.
Maybe I don't want to hear it when I feel bad in the midst of it,
which is
or feel
exactly
like bad.
Point.
Instead of, you gotta be like, hey, Angelica, let's go to lunch. You want to have lunch with me? And then as we're sitting there having a good, don't have a good time, just be like, hey, so I'm gonna take the next 5 minutes and I'm gonna tell you about this, and then I'll leave it alone. And I won't like press you, and I won't, but just listen to it and just simmer with it. Just stay with it. You got to be like soft with it, Juan. Have you ever seen your approach to topics that you're like disagreeing with?
But you're the same way, so it's not like.
No, you're aggressive.
We're both aggressive. It's like.
You're like, huh? I'm like, huh, what? Like, tell me. Tell you what? Well, I said this. What do you think? And I was like, I don't know what I think. And you're like, no, but I need to hear their opinion. Like, make something up. Like, say something. Talk about it. And I'm like, but I'm not ready to talk about it. And you're like, well, we're having a petty fight at this point. Let's stop. Let's stop that.
I don't feel like we're having a fight.
No, we're not. Okay.
No, I don't think we're having a fight. I think it's just like, no, I think I think now you kind of get what I was trying to say earlier.
No, you did.
And
Juan, I swear to God, it sounded like you were like a Jehovah's Witness at my door talking about, are you ready to receive the message? Honestly, that's what it felt. I was like, this is the only time I've ever heard this.
Well,
I was trying to make fun of you for that.
Well, I have been listening to our friend Tony Waller's podcast talking about flowing with the river.
Flowing with the
So that's a cheap shout out. Like, if you haven't listened to Tony Waller's podcast, it's called Hanging Out of My Closet, and you should go listen to it. Season 2 is out now, so.
No, he's an amazing guy for sure. He has amazing messaging. It's amazing guests that he had last time.
He takes you to church every time.
He does take you to church. No, he lets you in. Have you listened to his last guest?
I haven't.
The last few? Have you listened to the conversations?
Yeah, well,
No, I know.
Yeah.
But that was impactful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. They're like, the season 2 is a pretty big deal. Like,
I like the conversations he has. You know what I'm saying? The dynamic changes when you have another interesting person as part of your podcast.
Yeah.
You're like, what happened? Like, you're out there and you're like, okay, all right. Yeah, I can do this,
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I can do it. No, it is. It's very inspirational. Okay, bueno, entonces, yeah, is there anything you want to touch on, Juan?
I can't think of anything. I mean, I think we talked about a lot.
Yeah, we did.
Did we get to the point where you were of the conversation about aging?
Yeah, that I should have taken care of myself and that I should have put things into place. So like that, as I'm aging, that I'm also taking care of like myself, because I'm aging, I should probably stop trying to do work on my own.
I think where I'm struggling with aging is that I'm still struggling with taking the time to stop and to like do the physical like activity and to like get up and go and take care of my health that way.
I've been looking at it a lot. Yeah,
I feel like that's where I'm struggling. I feel like that's my area that I keep struggling with. Is like
I think I'm getting better at the food aspect.
I feel like the food aspect we're better at it.
Yeah, I think. Well, at least I can speak for myself. Okay, I don't know about you. Okay, no, you are good at what you're doing.
Trying to throw me under the bus?
No, you're being good about it. You're being good about it. But I'm speaking for myself. I do have I can, because I'm an emotional eater.
All right, I like ice cream. So what?
I didn't say shit, Juan. You yourself been like telling yourself out. No, but yeah, I'm an emotional eater, and when I feel bad, I like eat carbs, lots and lots of bread. So I'm trying to be better at that and not have a lot of food here, which means if I really want it, I have to leave the house for it. Yeah.
Well, I feel like as far as food, like I've managed to get that under control. Like where I know what I should eat and I know what I shouldn't eat. Yeah, I have moments where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna splurge a little bit.
But do you remember when we used to eat like little pints of ice cream, like almost every day?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
But I feel like I've gotten better. But what I'm still struggling is that physical like aspect where I'm just like,
yeah, me too.
I just get in front of my computer and I'm like, I got to do this, I got to do that, and I got to do this. Like earlier today, I was talking to Edgar. He called me. I was like, it was like 2:00, and I'm like, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna cook this and this and that, and I'm like, yeah, I've been trying to get up to cook, but I'm waiting to make myself my lunch real quick. He's like, but I'm like, I'm like trying to like finish this because I've been like putting it off and I gotta get it done, and I'm like, I'm gonna finish it first, and then I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm in the process of figuring out how to balance that a little bit better.
So I've been watching a lot of reels on Facebook, and it's a lot of nutritionists. So a lot of their advice was don't subtract, add. So whatever meals you're having, go ahead and start adding like fruits and vegetables and really good food to it so you can bulk it up. So like that, you're not eating heavy of just bad food.
But for a diabetic, that's different because like, the more you add like fruits, you have to be careful. Like
no. So you're adding like vegetables to like your.
But even with that, you have to be careful. Like which vegetables have sugar, which ones don't, and Like
yes,
it's like you have to be like rice, bread, all of everything.
No. Yeah. So you're right. I do understand that, but that's a perspective that I'm taking on.
Yeah.
So if I'm like eating, I go ahead and like add more vegetables to my food. So like that, I'm bulking it with a lot more fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think so. Yes, we did talk about a lot. Thank you, Juan, for taking the time to talk to me. I know it was last minute, but I really enjoyed it. And so where can people find us, Juan?
You can find us on Apple, on Spotify, on Amazon, on iHeart, everywhere. You can find us. Just look for the In the Business podcast with Juan and Angelica. And you can find us on our website, juanofwords.com. And that's where we're revamping that site. It has all of our podcasts. It has our blog post, which is our newly improved, I'm stealing that line from you, new and improved blog. Which, to your point, is also going to have contributions from our team.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be us writing. It's going to have contributions from our team also. So, you know.
Yeah. And if you're on those platforms, go ahead and rate. Give us some reviews. Let us know how you like this podcast. Maybe we're not your cup of tea.
And share it.
Now, yes, share it. Oh, that would be amazing if you absolutely shared it. Now, if we're not your cup of tea, I'm sure we're your crazy tia's cup of tea. Let her know we're out here just causing chaos. Acá andamos. Your favorite Texans, or maybe not your favorite Texans, but your fellow Texans are out here in Arkansas. Let them know. And with that,
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hasta luego.
Ay, madre.